Hello everyone, my name is Piche. I just turned 31 years old and I am super excited to have an opportunity to present my own TED Talk. I just graduated in January and I will be participating in the ceremony in May. Yay! Thank you, and thank you to the club that made this opportunity possible. Also, thank you to everyone in attendance. When I was 22, I finally decided to come out to arguably one of the most important and influential people in my life. My abuelita, my paternal grandmother. We were at my cousin's quinceañera, which is a celebration for a 15-year-old. It begins with the ceremony in a church and ends with the big old party. I decided to tell my grandma during the second part of the celebration because I didn't want to burst into flames. And I was super nervous. Although, in retrospect, I'm not sure why I was nervous, because my grandma used to defend me against my older cousins for wearing her good church heels and towels on my head. My grandma, when I told her, my grandma looked me in the eyes and said, Dios todavía te quiere y yo te quiero mucho. To translate, she said, God still loves you and I love you very much. My grandma immigrated from El Salvador in the early 1970s, both trying to evade a civil war and hearing of the riches this country has to offer. She left behind her 4 children, including my dad, who was a newborn, my grandpa, and her own mother. Her goal was to make enough money through labor and bring our entire family. Despite her struggle, my grandma managed to make enough money and bring everyone over. My abuelita passed away from cancer in March of 2020. A year later, with the help of one of my mentors, I launched a blog and wrote about our special relationship. Much like the blog, this speech is in her honor. Sola Esperanza Piche. Anyway, I think I should introduce myself and give a little more background information. Context is everything, and as C. Wright Mills says, we all have biographies that start at birth. My birth, in particular, was a little traumatic, resulting in my disability. I have cerebral palsy, which is usually the result of a brain injury. I lost oxygen to my brain when I was born. My latest article delves into my birth and everything that followed. It's tied to the Free Britney Spears movement. And just a little something, if y'all are interested in reading. I received a small settlement, only to find out that my attorney tricked my mom into an even smaller settlement by using a very stressful situation. My dad had been deported for the first time, and my mom was dealing with multiple legal issues on top of shedding the guilt that my disability was somehow her fault. Furthermore, I have been, anyway, I was born in East LA and raised in Whittier, California. I was raised in a Latinx home, as my mom is Mexican and my dad is Salvadorian. I have one sister who is 11 months younger. Clearly, my parents didn't waste any time. Furthermore, I have been writing for Crippled Media since 2017. I have multiple articles on sexuality and disability and what it's like navigating a heteronormative society built for able-bodied people. One of my popular articles is, what does it mean to come out as disabled and gay? Where I talk about learning how to embrace myself. Sharing my stories has allowed me to shine a light on issues that are typically ignored, particularly concerning queer disabled people. Growing up, I knew I was different not only because I was disabled, but I knew I was gay before I even knew what that meant. I went to Listerna High School, which was when I first started coming out as gay to my friends and peers. I started growing out my hair and wearing makeup on the weekends. I would talk to boys on MySpace, and I even developed a fling with a boy from across town. Around my junior year, I attended my first underground ball, like in the show Pose, and I was exposed to an array of queer people. It honestly felt like home. However, it felt like I was living a double life between the night scene and high school. People knew I was gay, they just didn't know how gay I was, or am. I was not invited to any high school parties, so the queer community from the night scene really became my second family. I almost did not graduate, even though I was a really good student for 3.5 years. A series of unfortunate events deterred me from wanting to continue, and I stopped going to class while faculty began giving up on me. My dad was deported for the second time, and my grandpa had passed away from cancer. I was either going to flunk my senior year or I was gonna drop out of high school altogether. However, completing and acing my senior project saved me, and I walked with my class in 2010. After high school, I took a 2-year sabbatical because the trauma really drained me, and I decided I wanted to explore my sexuality more. So I started to envelop a queer persona on a day-to-day basis. I wore more makeup and I wore more girl clothes. I became more feminine. To me, becoming feminine had nothing to do with presenting as a woman and everything to do with finding a potential partner. I officially started Rio Hondo Community College in the fall of 2012. I was getting over the night scene, and I missed being in an academic environment. During my second semester there, I took a cross-cultural sexuality class. It was a sociology anthropology class, and we learned about different sexualities and customs around the world. The class was taught by one of my mentors, Melissa Rufino Juarez, and it allowed me to intellectualize my lived experience. In other words, her class showed me that people like me were existing all around the world. After taking another sociology class with Professor Juarez, I was convinced of my major. Since then, I have taken multiple classes on sexuality and gender, and I now have a solid grasp on two different identities that constantly intersect. I have also learned of a concept called intersectionality. I included my own definition because textbooks are complicated. The term comes from the feminist movement, and it basically says that objectivity does not tell the whole story. For example, my sexuality informed my world just as much as my disability, my locality, my ethnicity, etc. I have a unique perspective in a society seemingly structured for a certain group of people. I graduated from Rio Hondo Community College in the fall of 2017. However, I participated in the ceremony of 2018 before taking another break to attend Cal State Fullerton in 2019. Around this time, I was ending a legal battle with my trustees. I had found out that they were using the probate system to take advantage of my special needs trust. I have never felt pain or betrayal this deep. Furthermore, I realized that there are truly evil companies willing to drain disabled people of our livelihood using the courts. I had trouble finding representation because able-bodied attorneys uphold a fraudulent system and perpetuate a societal perception that disabled people are worthy of nothing. However, in spite of turmoil, I graduated with a major in sociology and a minor in public administration. To end my time at Cal State Fullerton with a bang, I joined the moot court team where I competed in a regional tournament and placed 12th out of 67 speakers. Being a first generation queer disabled person of color to represent the Cal State Fullerton moot court team was an honor. I believe I was the first, but hopefully I am not the last. And I would be remiss if I did not give credit to Dr. Pamela Fiber-Ostro, whose program is effective for anyone willing to do the work, even a disabled diva like myself. My goal now is to become an attorney and open my own practice. I also want to teach, write books, and do some more public speaking. The smile you see today is genuine and expensive since I'm still paying for my admitted life. My goal today in speaking to y'all is to advocate for people like myself, queer, disabled people of color, that is. People often have difficulty accepting multiple realities at once. They either see the disability, or they see the queerness, or sometimes they don't see either. However, it is important to respect an individual's intersecting identities while understanding that neither disability nor sexual orientation is an obstacle in and of itself. In other words, society sets limits for both queer and disabled people, and especially queer disabled people. Part of my work is to normalize and humanize the gay and disabled experience. I hope I encourage y'all to embrace different walks of life. And I believe that listening and learning from each other is what helps move the needle towards equality and justice. Thank you.